Hey, friends, welcome back to an episode of Notes from the Edge. I am your host, Lisa Lacy, and this is the place we have the conversations we should have been having all along. Guess what? You ain't talking about it, so we're gonna. And today's guest is Jodi Koch. She is the CEO of Elizabeth Erin Designs, an interior design firm focused on creating spaces that are beautiful, functional, and reflective of the people who live within them. That's so great. Her approach is grounded in the belief that design extends way beyond aesthetics, guys, and that's why we're talking about it in here today. It is not only solving practical problems, but it's honoring your vision and creating environments that actually foster, check this out, comfort, confidence, and belonging in the place you're supposed to feel the safest. To make that process even more approachable, Jodi developed 5 steps EED process, a method designed to simplify decision making, safeguard budgets, and transform your abstract ideas into tangible realities. She also serves on the Women's Council of Realtors, giving her valuable perspective on relationship between design, real estate, property value. She's an avid traveler. She's also the host of Designing in 5D, where she shares her stories, insights, and actionable guidance to demystify interior design. And guess what? Help you live your best life in your safest space. Jodi, welcome to Notes from the Edge. How are you today, my friend?
I'm so good. That was so beautifully said. I'm like, am I all that really?
Yes, you. Everybody always says that when they create their bios. It sounds different when it's coming from someone else, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I guess
confuse
so.
you.
Well, we're not used to hearing the good stuff, right? You're used to hearing like the crazy stuff, all the drama and the problems.
Yeah, well, and our brains too. It's the negative. We could have 10 compliments, but it's that one thing from 8th grade that still sticks with us. So, yeah.
Oh, heck yeah.
Before we talk about design, and you
Mhm.
and I were already podcasting before the podcast, so we had to stop because we want to keep it for the podcast. But
Right.
I want to talk about what brought you into what you do now.
Sure.
In the essence of seeing beyond just this is not just interior design. This is the place where you are supposed to feel the safest. And I love this idea of increasing confidence for people.
Mhm.
How the heck do you do that with interior design and what brought you here?
Well, it's very intuitive. I'm channeling
Oh, we
into
like
some of
intuition in here,
yeah.
girl. Yeah.
I'm channeling into my crazy Aquarius self and my Venus is in Aquarius. So that's love, beauty, money, all the things, right? Travel.
Yep.
So I channel into that and what really sparked it is I started my company in New Jersey, I believe in 23, somewhere around there, 21, 22, 23, somewhere around there,
Okay.
02 or 03. Anyways, doesn't matter. So fast forward, then
That was a while
we
ago though.
moved.
That matters. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, I know this is my 22nd year of business. I get confused because I thought
Wow.
last year was my 22nd year of business and 22's my number. I have it tattooed on the back of my neck.
Woo!
Like,
Congrats.
yeah. So I was all confused that I thought last year was my 22nd year, but I digress. So we decided to move after 9/11 happened. My brothers were in the Air Force or the Army Reserves. And so they both got called up at the same time. And I had nephews and my sister-in-laws. We're all really close family. So I decided, well, my ex-husband gave me a choice of moving to North Carolina where I knew nobody and didn't have a support system and I just had started my company, or move back home to Iowa. So I chose to go back home. But then that scared me because I'm like, what I knew of Iowa was women bake their own things. They grow their own food. They have babies by trees. They
It would
don't
have
need
been worse down
designers.
south, girl. I'm telling you. Going from up north
Oh,
to down south is like culture shock.
oh, no joke. That's a real thing. From New Jersey to Iowa, we ended up deciding to build a home instead of finding a pre-existing home. And I thought that was going to be fun because as a designer, then I've renovated my own home before and obviously other people's, but how fun would it be to build my own? Because we've worked with other clients. I'm like, now I can really get into it and learn and learn and learn. Oh, learn and learn and learn. I did. So
Oh
talk
no.
about this guy was not a covert narcissist. He was an in-your-face narcissist builder that told me he was a good Christian, which should have been red flag number one. It was
Yeah, my
like
BFF is a devout Christian. I am not. I'm very mystical, spiritual, but she walks
yes, me
the
too.
walk. She doesn't just talk. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
he does not. So, or did not back then. And so I had the whole whole house designed. I was using my process before I even knew I had my process. But I was using my process. I had everything designed. I had all the documents done. I had every tile picked out. I had everything done to hand to him. And then it was like, you're over budget. You're over budget. You're over. It became a whole thing. But the whole point of it was, it comes down to this one moment where I'm standing by the staircase and I am not happy with him at all. And my ex-husband is standing next to him. And my builder is fed up with me. He's like, because my ex-husband is like, you build, it's your house. You build it the way you want to do it. Right. And so he hands my ex-husband a book, and I have to actually find the actual book, but the title of it was similar to How to Be the King of the Household and Control Your Wife. Is basically what the book was.
No, that did not happen.
Oh, it so did. But this is little wounded hurt me, not coming from a healed place like I am now. And he handed it to him, and my husband said, thanks. And then he looked at him and said, do you want to go to lunch? And they left me standing in my house, crying my eyes out, feeling like not being heard, not being valued, like nothing.
And it was your dream that just got dashed. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the whole thing was a horrible experience. And so at one point, then I had a realtor friend, and she's like, you are like you are being, I don't even recognize you. I'm like, yeah, I'm becoming the worst version of a human being possible. Cause I was so angry, so vindictive, wanted harm. Like I didn't want him to be anywhere near my house. Yeah, I was just done with it. And I was just like, because nobody was standing up. My ex-husband there was nobody standing behind me. And that's been a thing ongoing forever. Like nobody had my back, right? I've been all this pressure on me and nobody's standing up for me doing what's right. So I just decided, you know what? I'm going to take these horrible, gross, nasty, moldy lemons, this situation, this lemon, this
literal
bag of lemon. Yes. And I'm going to turn it into somehow the sweetest tasting lemonade that you've ever had. And so I started to streamline like what had happened, where the breakdown went. Cause like after projects, we review it as a team. We go over how did the project roll? Where were the hiccups at? How can we do better? Okay.
Love that process. I don't think a lot of people do that.
Well, that's how you learn and grow, right? And my team, when I had a team, they hated it because they're like, you're always changing things. Can we just keep it straight? I'm like, no, because did you not watch World War Z? You stay in one spot, you die.
You better run fast.
You gotta go
fast.
I know. You gotta move is the key to survival.
Always forward. Yes.
Always forward.
Yes.
So I did that, and I came up with the process, and basically what it was is our budget wasn't protected when it came down to it. They were getting bids off of old things that there were things that should have been fail proof and they weren't. So I kind of like made these buckets, and it's evolved a little over time, but it's pretty much the same thing, like, and I'm also a very spiritual person, came from Christianity background, but now very spiritual. And so I'm like thinking, when I was trying to even come up with the podcast name, and I'm like, well, what is our process? And I was kind of meshing the two, they're like, they're being born at the same time. So I was like, well, the first thing is 1D, one dimension is we are having conversation with our clients to see if we want to work together. Because if you don't like this, we're going to be together for months and months. So if you don't like this
relationship,
it is, you're not gonna jive well. And that's totally fine. I'm not for everybody. I get that.
So step one, find the right fit for both of you.
Find the right fit for both of you. Because if somebody has unrealistic expectations of a process, or they need their whole entire house renovated for $200,000, that's probably not going to happen unless you have like a 100 square foot house. You know what I mean? Saying, so it's like, it's got expectations have to be set. So after that, then it comes 2D. So then they decided to hire us, and we're showing them 2D plans, because my whole thing is function first. Anybody should be able to make any good designer should be able to make something look beautiful. But if it doesn't function, what's the point? If we need to take down a wall to open up the kitchen because you like the idea to give you an open concept, or whatever it's going to do for you because of the way you're living in the home, why am I going to put a wallpaper on that wall and spend time designing that wall if it needs to come down? So you got to start with function first. And we get down to the nitpicky, like, are you sure you want the closet there? Wouldn't it be better to move the shower and the closet in this space? That would give you more room. It would movement, how you're moving through it. And that's just really intuitive. It's just very intuitive. as you go through a home. I love looking at plans and trying to see how it makes it more efficient. Sometimes, clients just aren't down for it, but I mean, like, you're paying me, so I have to give you my best information. Like, and I'll like point things out. I'm like, you got a door going this way, and then this way. Like, all three doors are in this little area. How about these two become pocket doors, and this door can be, a regular door? I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, because now that gives you more room to get a bigger vanity. We can shift this around. So it's just a lot of conversations and going over the 2D plan and getting the 2D right. And so then when we move on from 2D, we start picking finishes and doing everything. So now we can create the beautiful 3D rendering, so you can see it, like what it's really going to look like, not AI 3D. I'm not talking about having ChatGPT throw something in.
Somebody who designs kitchens says AI is driving him crazy.
Oh my gosh. No, it's actually,
I can't make that.
I know that's the problem. It's not realistic. And so like, I actually, we can talk about this later, but I actually started a whole new program called North Star after my divorce. And after I got my employees left or I had to let them go, I took 6 weeks off and just drove across the United States visiting family and friends, and like, what do I want to do, and trying to get centered. So we can talk about that. But then
I do want to talk about your road trip. Yes.
Yes. So then 3D is where you're showing everybody the visuals, the actual, like, this is your plan now coming to life in 3D. And you can see it in color, and we're showing furniture. Cause like one of my clients is like, the reason I want this living room, I need 3 feet behind my sofa because I want to stand there and I want to look at the beautiful trees and I want to see the wildlife that comes to my backyard. And I'm like, well, girl, you don't got 3 feet. You got 1.5 feet. And that was because we got the plans early enough. The house hadn't been built yet. And we put furniture in, because architects will just, they don't get into the client's head and know you want this type of a sectional or 100-foot sectional, whatever it is. They don't know how you want the living. They're not going into that depth. They're throwing furniture in there and you have no idea what size things are. Right. So that's why.
No, friends, let's not gloss over that. So
right.
Make sure you're talking to your entire team.
You have to have a team up front, because
here's what I love, Jodi, is you're actually asking, like, what do you want to be seeing in your home? Yeah.
Well, that's part of, like, you're spending all this money, but it actually, you're going to pay for it one way or another. You're going to pay for it in disappointment. You're going to pay for it in slowing the process down because you didn't realize something during the bid. You're paying for a designer whether you realize it or not. Yeah. You have, there's fees that you pay when you pay 35% restocking fees when you order a tile, and then the tile that you like doesn't come in, and then it slows the whole process down. So now everybody's waiting and they have to keep coming out and trip charges. And I didn't realize
designer.
that.
Is that your thing? Like, hire a designer?
If it's a big remodel, yes, at least for some point, or at least for, like, review the plans, get with the team, review the plans, and then maybe you do some selecting on your own. And then you're like, okay, I have all this stuff picked out. What are your thoughts? Hire for another or him 7 to 10 hours to go over your stuff and get in depth and look it over and dot I's and cross T's. Because like when we do it, like even in our trim packages, like we're checking to make sure, like, okay, for one client, we did this beautiful trim wainscoting that goes up 42 inches, right? Well, then the builder and I, as a team with the architect, we were going over all of our selections, and he's like, hey, did you guys know the base trim you selected starts at 5/8 of an inch, but then it tapers up to a 1/4 of an inch. And so now the big trim boards that you want are going to overlap, and it's going to leave this raw edge. You know what I mean? It wouldn't fit right.
It's not going to look pretty.
No, it's going to look horrible. So he goes, you need to find a trim piece, that goes 5/8 inch all the way up, nothing that tapers. And so I was like, oh my gosh, great catch. So like, those are the things that we take care of, because otherwise he would have ordered all the trim. It would partially have been installed, and like, even I'm saying even designers make mistakes, but that's why it's good to have a whole team together. Like we even do like trades day. So I just have a client, we've done all the design work. She's got all the people hired that she wants to hire. And I'm saying, let's gather everybody who's going to be doing the work, not the CEOs and bosses, the actual people installing. Hands-on. We're going to be on site, and we're all going to go over the project for like 35-40 minutes, point out any issues before anything else is ordered. Do you know what I mean?
So you're willing to really pull from the brains of everybody involved.
It's the only way that really works without having so many headaches in the middle of the process. Then once the project's going, it's pretty done unless, you know, it's a remodel and they open up a wall and there's a family of raccoons living in there that nobody expected. Like,
please tell me you encountered that.
Right. No, I have not encountered that, but I just made it funny. But yeah, like, so that's the reason why you do it. And people don't realize you're going to pay for it at some point or another. And having all those details down, all those, the specs and the details really, really matter when it comes to executing. Otherwise, subcontractors, okay, so the bosses are saying, yeah, the plumbers got, yeah, we're going to do that. Yeah. But they're not the actual ones coming to do the work. So then when the guys come to do the work, if they can't read or understand the plans well, they're going to do what's easiest for them. It may not be what's best and easiest for the client. They're just going to do what they've always done. And it may not come out the way you want it to come out. And then there's disappointment that sets in, because that's why the designer really needs to stay involved. Like I even implemented a concierge plan where people can hire me to be in the whole entire project, especially if they're traveling or going out of country or out of state for, you know, different periods of time during the remodel process. You need somebody that's going to have your back and your pair of eyes. Yeah, it costs money, but so does making all the mistakes and coming home and being disappointed with all the money that you spent on this brand new home and it not ended up being the same thing that you ended up wanting it to be. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's like 3D, showing all the stuff. 4D is what I just talked about, that concierge level service, the compassion we have during the remodel and new build process, how we can support our clients during that. And then 5D is just the part where we have the meeting after, where the transcendence, like how do you get better than you already are? Right. Yeah. And so I was doing that. And then I was like, okay, I want to do that in my podcast. And so I just like, okay, I'm going to take the 5D process. And that's what we're going to do for the podcast, Designing a Life You Love, 5D. I have it tattooed on my arm. It's upside down and you probably can't see it. Yeah, I did that when I got divorced. Yes. So yeah, it's just taking that whole process and making it intentional, slowing it down. Like all the design work is done up front before you dig a hole for your land. That's when I prefer to get involved. It's intense and it's long, but it's very intentional. And then that also protects
long than it has potential to be, though.
Well, yes, because
like prep is so important in all of this.
It is. Otherwise, you're getting all excited because you're building a new house, you're doing a remodel, and then all of a sudden you're running your life. You're helping your parents, you're doing the kid thing, your grandkids, you're working, you've got household.
Your house is a mess.
Everything that you're doing. But then the builder's like, I need your appliances. I need you to pick this out. I need you to pick this out. And you're like, how am I supposed to pick out appliances? And how do I know how I want the kitchen if I don't even know what colors? Like, I don't know how people do it. Like, okay, you pick the appliances and okay, we're over budget by like $5,000-$6,000. And now we're going to take those appliances and go to the cabinet people and start designing the cabinets. But the cabinet people have no idea what backsplash you want, what paint color you want. Like it's all
a lot of decisions
pieced together. It's decision fatigue on steroids, which is why we take 3 weeks to really get into your project. I even ask the clients for a picture of themselves and their family so that we can sit down as a team and go over it and say, these are who we're designing for. This is their lifestyle they want. These are the people that are going to be living here and the lives we're going to be changing. Let's just do a little intuitive exercise to make sure that we're going in the right direction for our clients.
I love that. Jodi, well, amazing. So how long has the podcast been running? How long have you been rolling with it?
I think 1.5 years. I was doing 1 episode a week and then life happened. And I said, you know what, for right now, I'm just going to go to 1 episode a week. I'm going to 2 episodes a month right now.
Nice.
Yeah. And I have intuitive people on, I have other designers on, I have architects on, I talk myself. Yeah, it's just a hodgepodge right now. I'm just trying to figure it out because that was one thing I had to give up, perfectionism. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect to get something started, and you just find yourself along the way. So
I love that. Find yourself along the way, but take the first step. So let's talk about your 6-week road trip. I love the fact that you had something go down and you were like, I'm out of here. I had a similar experience. I have a congenital blood disease that keeps me in and out of the hospital with almost dying experiences. And in the past, I just like I'd get out of the hospital on a Thursday, and I'm a workaholic. You seem like you might be a little bit of a workaholic too.
Working on that one.
Me too, girl. Me too. So, but I turned 50 right after. So this one changed me. Thus, this podcast exists because I was like, I am not doing what my mission is here to do. So that's when the
Exactly.
memoir wrote itself. And the answer I got, I told everybody to screw off. We're not doing what we had planned. I don't want big things. I don't want lots of people. I went to the mountains by myself with my little 21-year-old dog that I've had since I was
Aw.
3 months old. He's a little Italian Greyhound that's 21.
Aw.
And I this still small voice was like, you cannot leave with these stories inside of you, and other people want to tell their stories to you. So memoir came out, podcast came out. So talk to me about what was the
The lead up to all that.
Yeah, your road trip. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll skim over things quickly. And if you want to hit it again, we can hit it. But like was sitting on the sofa we just moved to Florida. I moved the company to Florida. Google said I had a showroom in Iowa. I didn't have a showroom in Florida. We were all working virtually. Google didn't like it. They shut me down and said I existed nowhere. They shut my company down. So now
What?
I have 7 employees. Well, yeah, because they said we didn't exist. So people couldn't find us unless they knew of us or Googled us on the website. It said permanently closed.
Oh, wow.
And Google, there's nobody to talk to in Google. I worked 3 years to get myself back up in Google's graces. It's so frustrating. So if anybody from Google is listening, do better. Do better. Do better. So I was just so frustrated and I didn't know what to do. And I wasn't happy. Like, again, I asked for a divorce after 1 year of marriage, after 7 years of marriage, after 19, like there's been so many times, and I never listened to myself. I listened to other people, which was a huge lesson that I learned. And so now I'm sitting on the sofa, I don't know what to do. I feel so lost. And I just made this big move to Florida, and I'm like, I need to go to a retreat. So I was researching retreats. I found one in Costa Rica. Absolutely loved it. It was an ayahuasca retreat. Didn't go, wasn't the right time. Decided to find a place near Asheville, North Carolina. I made my own.
Beautiful.
I made my own retreat. A girl I'd met in Charleston had just moved to that area. So I was naked on a table outside in the mountains, and she was barefoot, and she was, giving me a massage and doing Reiki and all of the things. And then we'd go hiking and go find these little markets and get farm to table food. I made all my own food. I did read the Bible. I made a vision board. I read books. It was 6 days. I left my phone at home and I left my computer at home. I even navigated with a real map.
Did you have a little? I remember maps, girl. I traveled the world with a real map. Like,
I know.
And my husband is 16 years younger than me. And I'm like, dude, he's like, you have no navigation skills. I said, are you kidding me? I've traveled the world with a real paper map. So yeah. Anyway, it's
yes.
But yeah, it sounds like everything just crashed around you. But I love, friends out there, retreats can be really expensive.
They can be. So I just made my own.
Yeah, you can absolutely do that.
I just made my own, and it was amazing. And I came back refreshed, and I thought I had a direction because I really loved my company, which is named after my twin daughters, Hannah, Elizabeth, and Sydney Erin. So I love the idea of my company. So I'm like, I'm going to keep going. And I use savings, and I use savings, and I use savings because my girls were my family. I didn't realize that I thought that way. I thought everybody felt that way, but they didn't feel that way. And to their own point, they really shouldn't. They're out for them. They're always going to do what's best for them. Yeah. So I'll just leave all of that at that. And then November of 24, I decided now it's time to go. It must have been, September of 23 is when that retreat happened. November of 24, I decided to go to Costa Rica and go to an ayahuasca. Didn't do much research on it. Knew it was plant medicine, knew a little bit about it, but I had no expectations. Went extremely incredible. The most pivotal point was the last night of doing the ayahuasca. And there was somebody that came up to me and I was crying by the fire. Just, you're not supposed to talk to each other because you take yourself out of the medicine. And he said, you are divine, you are beautiful, you are talented, you are gifted, and you are just angelic and all these beautiful things. And then so I cried harder and he left. And then I thought it was a shaman that might have said that to me, but it wasn't. It was another person there. And the next morning, everybody's sleeping in the thing, and we wake up and he's like, was that you I said that to? And I'm like, you said that to me? And he goes, yeah, I got in big trouble. He goes, I don't even know why I said it. I just said it. And then I started crying harder. And he goes, what's wrong? And I said, I don't know if any male has ever said such beautiful words to me without expecting something in return.
Wow.
And that was so powerful. And I came home and I had long conversations with my ex-husband. And I said, look, you know, and I had had conversations prior to this in March. And I said, I can't keep going on like this. This is what I need from a relationship. I feel so alone in this. I'm tired. I'm carrying so much. I need somebody to help. There's anytime anything emotional would happen, he would escape because he just wasn't equipped to deal with the emotions. But after 25 years, I was just exhausted of it. I just couldn't do it anymore. And nobody understood. And a lot of it, I put on myself too, because you just don't know any other way. That has to do with whole childhood stuff that I won't get into today, but I mean, we can if we want to.
We do a disservice to ourselves when we swallow so much, because then nobody knows what we're actually dealing with behind the scenes.
Right.
So then when we finally get our stomach full, and friends out there listening, your stomach full, maybe 3 months, 3 years, 25 years, you just don't know. When you get it, you'll get it. But I think when we finally come forward with everything we've been struggling with, when we're the ones that have carried all the stuff, we're not believed.
No, it was more like you're being over dramatic and just getting yelled at. Like, I don't want to deal with this. And it would circle around on a hamster wheel. Somehow it would be my fault. Like I would be upset, but then it became my fault for being upset because I don't know why. It's ludicrous.
To be your fault. Yeah. And then you feel all the guilt and the shame, and then you're it must be my fault. I suck.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Because as a child, I was taking care of my 3 brothers and sisters when my mom and dad got divorced. And then she was going to school and working full time. So it was my job to take care of them, get dinner ready. Everybody did homework. I was a good girl. I went to all the sports, did my stuff. Got my brother from the daycare, took him to the daycare, and then walked to school, even in snow. Like, it didn't matter. Like, anything to help save $1.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Grew up. Yeah. I was babysitting 6 kids by the time I was 10.
Okay. Gotcha. Enough said.
Yeah. Yep. Enough said. Yeah. So there's a lot. And then, so it's just like, just realizing the perfectionism, and that's how we put ourselves in cages. Like, we put ourselves in these cages so where we can control our little world, but really, and then we want out at some point, but we don't know how to get out. We don't know how to get out of our own way. And that was when plant medicine started to help me see where things were not aligned with what was actually in my heart. Because things that I thought were in my heart were not really what was in my heart. It was just conditioning and programming.
I love that. Not within your heart, not aligned within your heart. I love that you had that epiphany. So when you came home, what'd you do with the epiphany?
So we had the conversation again. I don't want to live this way. Okay. We decided to get separated, and we had already planned for everybody to come down for Christmas. So, and we'd gotten an Airbnb. So I'm like, that's fine. We were separated. I moved out into the guest bedroom, and he, went and took his parents back to Iowa so that they could, cause he didn't want them to drive back and forth. Driving is a lot at their age. So we want him to be here, but we didn't want them to put extra strain on them. So he took them back, and then we had a home in Iowa, and that we were renting out, and nobody was renting it at the moment. So he stayed there for 3 months, and we did touch points talking. And I gave him, over the course of many years, a list of things that were like non-negotiables, or things that I wanted him to do that I thought would help move the needle. And then I got to the point where he wasn't doing it. And so, I'm beating my head against the wall. I'm saying I need these things. These things aren't happening. I'm not seeing any progress. I'm going to pull back my energy. I'm going to match energy. Isn't
it amazing when you do that?
Then everything
went down for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything just
you can literally pull your energy back into yourself, and everybody around you will feel that shit. Yes,
they will. And he pulled back too. He just pulled back more. He's like, well, you're not doing anything, so I'm not doing anything. And so I was like, okay. So then and then he had a big trip in Asia over the summer months. And then he came back in July, and he was like, look, after this is probably the 9th or 10th conversation over the course of 2 years. What do I need to do to fix it? And I would give him, and then nothing would happen. So he said it again in July. And I was like, listen, I can't keep going down this road. You obviously don't want to do anything. And it makes me feel like I'm breaking your heart, telling you, well, son, you didn't do this. So now you're not going to get a freaking cookie, right? Like you didn't do what you're supposed to do. So now you don't get the cookie. And I just,
and it's on my pot when you eat it.
yes. And then he said, I felt bad because he started to look a little teary, but not really. And then he said, don't worry, I've already been dating. And that broke my heart because we had made a promise to each other that if we were going to date or do anything that we would let each other know. And at that point, we should probably start the process of, going through a divorce if that's where our hearts really were. Like I was still like waiting. Yeah. I was waiting to see, because it's like there's a beautiful song. I'll have to send it to you. So I don't know if anybody wants it, but it's
send
like
us what if the links here.
I will. It's what if he changes, but what if he doesn't? And what do I do? And what if he changes? What if I stay? What if I leave? And it's a really beautiful song about not knowing and being okay not knowing, what's going to happen, and just really listening to your inner.
Yeah.
No, it's not safe, right? Yeah. We learned to read a room at like 4 years old because our parents were unhinged. You never know what was going to happen. So you learn
unhinged.
You learn to read
through the house and like, okay, what's going to happen? I just need to
my God, I think I was like 6 years old and my mom was talking to us and then she just didn't, and she went limp in a chair. And I was like, oh my God. And I'm screaming and crying because I didn't know what to do. And I was crying and she wasn't breathing and I was freaking out.
Oh, wow.
And then she popped up and she goes, why didn't you call anybody? And I'm like, what? Why didn't you call anybody for help? And I'm like, why didn't you call? And I'm like, I didn't know what to do.
I'm
so
sick.
It's like, talk about like nervous system shock. Like, and that just was like not an isolated incident. We were in the middle of a snowstorm and she was pressing the gas, pressing the brakes, pressing the gas. I'm going to have to leave you in the car in the middle of the night to go get help from a farmhouse. And then came back. Just kidding. The car's fine because the car was having problems. Wow. Like it was just nonstop. It was nonstop. Yeah,
that's a bit of a
anyways.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's a mind fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So,
So anyways, always on edge, hyper vigilant. Yep.
Yes. And yes. All the
time.
Can
I just please everybody? Right. I'll just take care of everything. Yep.
Yeah. Let me just drain my savings account, keeping people employed that were not extremely, loyal. Yeah. I'm thinking, well, they were loyal. That's wrong.
Big on having each other's back in here.
They were very loyal. It just like they had to take care of themselves too. And I totally understand that. And I want them to spread their wings and fly. Some of it was upfront and some of it was covert, but it doesn't matter. It's fine. I learned and grew and I became a better person for it. So I thank everybody for their contribution to whatever the situation was. And I apologize for my part in the downfall of the relationship. So anyways, pouring heart, soul, time, and money.
Really cool though, because damn it, when we're going through it, it feels like we're dying. It feels like the end of the world. And then it produces our growth. And then we're able to go, oh, okay.
It's hard getting through that time though, because you don't think it's ever going to end. Yeah. So I found, and unfortunately, I ended up somehow getting connected to our joint credit card system and found, he had been on dates and spending marital funds on dates and everything like that. And it's fine. We were separated. Everybody has their own version of separation. Separation is not final. Separation is a trial. And I feel like separation, you should be working on yourself.
Well, and you had the verbal agreement. That's my big deal. If you have a verbal agreement, honor it. Like my thing is, if anything should change, just let me know.
Yeah, that's where we left it. And it wasn't. So it's just betrayal over and over and over by everything. So anyway, so then I started filling out the paperwork. We ended up getting divorced, finalized on 10/22 at 5:22
Your number?
p.m.
Whoa. Whoa.
Yep.
That's a sign, girl. Yeah.
Yes. And so there's a lot of other things that happened in between, but I ended up moving out and helping another woman. She actually helped me. I didn't really help her. I lived in her home and helped take care of it over the winter months. And then she came back and then then my ex-husband had time to move out to his new apartment and I was going to move into our home. And then there was 4 weeks in between. And I'm like, I'm taking 5 or 6 weeks off and I'm just going to take off and figure out what I want to do. And at this point I had one employee left, like part-time, and everybody else was 1099. and I was figuring things out, and we had marketing done up until a certain point. So I was just like, I'm just going to go take life and figure it out. And I'm like, I need something that I can do where I can travel, but I can also get my need for helping people and still be very intentional about it. So that's when North Star was born. I just kind of released it. I haven't been loud about it. I've been having some throat chakra things, so I know I need to be a little bit more verbal about stuff.
We're ranked number 5 like globally right now. So you doing it. Yeah, we're getting it out into the world right now. So do it. Announce it. Yay, North Star. Yay. I love it. Why North Star?
Well, North Star is because I feel like when I was working with, I had done a podcast live at the Builder Show in Orlando in February, and I chose to interview a girl who is high up in interior design and AI. And I'm like, we cannot be scared of AI as designers. Our clients are using it. I ask every one of them, I'm like, have you used ChatGPT? Do you have an idea of where you want to start yet? But what most people don't understand is like ChatGPT. Well, they probably understand if it gets it wrong. You can't do certain things. And it doesn't take the place of human brains and intelligence, especially when you're doing design every single day. You kind of know what you can do. And so I thought, well, how can I incorporate what people are already using, but on a higher level? So I'm working on developing my own designer AI app for designers, or actually it's for myself. Yes, that can help do all the things. So that's super exciting. And I am taking it so people can go online and they can book a North Star. And the reason I called it North Star is everybody needs direction. If you have direction, if you have your true north, a North Star to go with, then every decision that comes your way, you can say, does that help me get closer to my North Star, or does it distract me from it? And you're like, okay. So if you're like, I really love floral tile, I love this floral tile, I'm going to do it. And then you come across this striped and checkerboard tile that you're like, oh, but that's really pretty too. But does that take you back to your North Star? Maybe not. Maybe North Star needs to be adjusted, or maybe, nope, that's right, I really love that floral. Like, it just keeps it in the front of your mind, right? And we all need visuals for that. So that's where people can go online. They can book a North Star with me. We get a 30-minute consult to talk to each other. They upload a picture of every corner of the room, and then they do a video for me so I can see what's going on in the home. For example, one client did a kitchen and a living room, and in between the two, there was a half wall. It was not load bearing. And they actually paid for me to go in person. So people can choose to have me pay to go in person as well. So I knew that wall wasn't load bearing and it could be pushed back. And since we did that, instead of having a tiny island that faced a tiny window that looked at something not very desirable, like their neighbors, we were able to open up the wall and turn the island, double the size of the island, and then they got a water view.
Wow, girl. Yes. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, because
one wall. That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Not even a whole wall, just another section of a half wall, just taking that down and opening that up. Or like in the same living room, they had a door that went to a laundry room, a door that went to a laundry room. They had railing open above this cutout that was not centered on the fireplace. And then this tiny little fireplace that was white and blended in with the wall. But then you had this competing water view. And I'm like, this needs to be a focal point as well. So in the AI rendering, I worked with it and I was like, okay, if we don't need 2 doors to the laundry room, let's make this an arched built-in, arch the doorway into the laundry room, tile, a large format tile all the way up and close off that open space into the upstairs because you don't need it. And it was throwing you off, visually throwing you off. Now you have a simple focal point, but yet it doesn't really compete with the water. It's just very simple and soft.
I love that. That.
So it's AI is never going to take the place of like a human brain and the knowledge of going through.
Can't tell stories. It can't tell stories, and you got to have human hands on everything.
Yes, but it can make things easier. So like I was in a phone call with a client. It's a tool. Yeah. So I was in a meeting with them, and instead of spending like more employee money to have my employee go into her chief architect, which is the program I use, and like set it all up and then rearrange it and to take a tile down and put a tile up, it would be like 4 or 5 days later. I was like, let's just throw the rendering we already have. If you're curious on what it would be to put this wallpaper to this wallpaper, let's just see. So right in the middle of a meeting, I was able to use it. She's like, oh yeah, I really love that one the best. So then we were able to go and order it. Yes, 5 days, a lot of money. My employees having to go back and do something,
Yeah.
She ended up having to go back and do it anyways because we like to keep all of our documents updated, but at least she didn't have to go back and forth and wait and wait and wait. We could just discuss it right there. And that's what's nice about it. It's
Great
not
tool.
perfect, but
Yeah.
it's better and it can be used as a tool. And that way, people who don't want to spend, like a lot of my clients are doing $600,000 remodels, or they want like a whole bunch of rooms done, and it can be like $22,000 to $30,000 to work with somebody for a year on plans and all of that. If you need all of the details, like if they want it and they see the value in it, some people don't want to and they don't have the money to spend. So that's why I said you can buy a chunk of hours, you can do anything else. But North Star is like, I just don't know where to start. I just need like
I need
HGT.
clarity.
I need clarity. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the key word. So they can go and book a North Star and get clarity and direction on 3 rooms. They can add more rooms if they want to, just to give them some direction. And then we do a 30-minute consult at the end to say, this is what I did and why. They get a list of local contractors to work with. They get approximate price ranges of what it's going to take to do that project. Like I'll go through and say, from you, and I take their original picture and then I put the AI picture, and there's examples on the website, but I show them, this is how I got to this picture. I changed the paint color, the trim, I did landscaping. We moved the,
all the details.
Yeah, all the details, what I did to get to the new picture and what approximately that will cost, a list of contractors to work with. And then they get another 30 minutes to ask any final questions. I'm not going to change anything, update photos or anything, but they get to ask 30 more minutes of questions if they want it. And then I tell them, if there's anywhere you want to go from there, let me know and I can give you a proposal to do something further. Because after that, they might say, okay, my priorities are, because I'll talk through and I'm like, if you're going to do this in the kitchen, you should really think about doing your flooring as well at the same time. That would save you money in the long run. So I kind of help get them started on a track, but then they can take it from there and they can say, okay, I think we do not want to do the kitchen right now. We want to start with a bathroom. What would it be for you to help me with that? Do all the documents and everything else. And that's like a few $1,000s. So we already have a North Star. So it makes my job less, easier because I don't have to charge as much trying to figure it all out and go back and forth. We can do less revisions. We can really hone in.
So you've passed the value down to your clients and saved them money just already.
Yes, because a lot of times people buy a second home and they don't know what direction, like in the area, like I'm in Florida, second homes are huge here, vacation rentals. How can I get my vacation home to look different, stand out in the market? Because if it goes a little south and people aren't wanting to spend so much money coming down, how is your place going to be different than everybody else's?
I love that you asked the right questions. See, we're big on the right questions, better questions in here. And it sounds like you're asking your clients better questions.
Well, how can I do my job? Because the feedback I get here about, and no offense to any designers or decorators, but I think we all need to do better. And so that's why I'm going to share this in the area. My feedback is I've heard a few good names, like they're really good. They're budget conscious. These designers are good. And most of the time it's the designers cog the machine. They get this head. They think that they, can pick all these pretty things out. And I just did a video that's going to go out on, I think in my October or August marketing. It's before we get to pretty. These are all the things that we need to do. You can't just jump to pretty.
We got to do the plans before we get to luxury. Yes. I love that. Yeah. Well, Jodi, it sounds like you've been on an amazing journey. And you know what I see in you? You have so much freaking passion for what you do, sister. You have so much passion and a lot of knowledge and wisdom. Those 22 years have really built a solid foundation of knowledge and wisdom. And I love that you work intuitively. I love that you look at your clients as human beings and recognize that it's their home and you want it to be safe and comfortable and beautiful and affordable, for what you can give them for what they can afford. And it sounds like you have a lot of different options to connect with you, not just I'm going to charge you $30,000. Yeah.
No. Yeah. But we have that option too. But like, not everybody needs that option. There's so many baby steps in between. And one thing I want to say is a lot of people say, I look at your website and I really want it this way, but I don't see that on your website. And I'm like, people, we can only do what the clients allow us to do. Like I've come up with great, cool ideas, but it doesn't always make the budget cut or their priority need at the moment. And maybe they end up doing it a few years down the road, but it doesn't end up always on our photos. But I will tell you, I am not Joanna Gaines. If you're listening, love you, but the shiplap's done and over. Like, I'm not a Joanna Gaines. We're not going to just do shiplap. You know, it's what people are known for. I'm known for doing things differently and intuitively. For example, one of my clients said, I really collect things from artifacts, historical artifacts from China and Native America. And also the wife's like, yeah, but I want it to be beachy. And I really love like blues and greens. And I'm thinking, how the hell am I going to pull this one off? This is really going to be a challenge because I don't always do what's trendy. If a client wants trendy, I can do trendy, but I'm going to do it in a timeless way. Unless they really want to go all out, I can do that too. But I did a whole custom Beatles in a music room, a big, not like poster, but like wallpaper, a custom made wallpaper for a Beatles room and a music room. And it was really cool. But like, so how I pulled this together is we took a space that they were previously just using to store stuff in, and we made it like a place where you could have 4 swivel chairs and a coffee table. And then I did built-ins on one side with glass doors, all built in, so they could showcase their pieces, their artifacts, and bring it out onto the coffee table and like look at it with everybody and have a conversation, have a cup of coffee, share where they got it, share the history about it. And it became a place for curation. Now, if somebody connection. And if they ever decide they wanted to sell the house, which please don't sell your house. I love that house, but somebody else, a new homeowner it's right off the kitchen. They could put a dining room table in and use that as a hutch. Like, so it's also like thinking through, like, you know, the future and what it could hold.
Yeah. Well, Jodi, we're at 45 minutes, my friend. My goodness.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry.
You felt like 10 minutes. No, girl, we're good. We're good. How can people find you just for that North Star connection, just to get a little clarity? How can they reach you?
Yes. It is Elizabeth Erin Designs. So Elizabeth is how you normally spell Elizabeth. And then Erin is ERIN designs with an S.com. We are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, although I don't know if our TikTok is super active right now, and LinkedIn. You can find me, Jodi Koch, on LinkedIn. The podcast is on our website as well as like on everywhere podcasts.
Love it. And guys, you don't have to write that down. We're going to provide all the clickable links right here for you, Jodi. If you'll send me that song too, for people who are in transition.
It's very healing.
Yes. All right. Well, we will make sure we provide that. All the links, guys. You don't have to write it down. Jodi, before we close out, we ask all of our guests 2 questions. Are you ready?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Okay. Here we go. All right. In your own life, what did you perform in order to survive? And what did dropping that role mask or performance do for your life?
Oh, that's an easy one. I carried everything for everybody. You needed something. I did it for everybody. I made sure Christmas was the best. I made sure this was the best. You needed a way to figure out, you needed a pay raise or whatever. I figured it out. Like, I just gave and gave and gave and gave and gave and gave and gave until there was nothing left of me to give. And I felt broken, even though I was not broken. I felt broken. Beyond
exhausted.
The decision fatigue, exhaustion fatigue, felt lost, didn't know where to go, didn't know what I wanted to do. And
then you're looking around and you're going, where's everybody at that I helped? I remember that too. Like, you're like, hey, wait a minute. So
I was lucky. The universe is amazing. I ended up, like, when your energy vibration raises, you just collect people. I collected so many women going through a transition in their home at the same time. We all bonded together. We spent New Year's Eve together. We cried together. We all just sent each other happy, full moon last night. Like, we had support and we created it, what we needed. And I've always found support in other women. That was amazing. And the second part of the question was like, how did that transform my life? Like, releasing that part of it. Well, it made me rethink, like, it made me get into my heart and feel what did now Jodi really want? And then what does that look like for the highest version of me? Where's my true north? And what baby steps can I take each day to get closer to that, even though it's scary and it's unknown? Like just surrendering to that, being okay with Google shutting me down for 3 years and not making any money and depleting my savings account and realizing that was the stupidest non-CEO thing that you could ever possibly do, and realizing lesson learned.
Lesson learned.
Lesson,
I love
lesson,
it, girl. I
life
love that
lesson
you
learned. You
found
learn
your
more.
mentor.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
learn more in life than you do in college. That's for sure.
That's true. Yeah, Earth school is hard, girl. Earth school is hard. All right.
Man.
Next question. What do you want us to be conversing more about? What conversations do you feel like we need to be having that we're not talking enough about?
I think really getting in your heart and feeling what you want, because I came to a realization with my house in Iowa. I was driving on my travels to Iowa that 6 weeks that I took off, and I'm like, maybe we'll keep the house in Iowa. Maybe I'll move back. Maybe I need to get out of Florida. I don't know. I don't know what life looks like. And I was wishy washy. And when you realize wishy washiness creates this uncertainty, and the abundance plane wants to land, but it's uncertain and it doesn't know you want it. So it keeps turning around and waiting for you to get certain. I got to a point where I was in Iowa and too many crazy things happened. And I was like, enough of this. I want the fucking house to sell. I'm done. The house needs to
Decision
sell.
made.
I'm
When did
done.
it
I
sell?
do
How
not
fast
want to
did
come
it
back to
sell?
Iowa.
How
Well,
fast
I'll
did it
tell
sell?
you, I said that. And then I had written a 20-page letter to my ex-husband because some things came to light, and it was just about the covert narcissist stuff. And I had the picture of our wedding, and I was sitting at my mom's house because I was on that part of the trip, and I was looking outside and I was peering back, and I was like, that's the church we got married in. Now it's time to release. So I did a beautiful release ceremony where I burned the wedding picture, burned the letter, and just did a release saying, I hope he finds peace and happiness and joy in life, and please release me. And I said, and then I'm done. 20 minutes later, we got a full price offer on the house, and they wanted all the furniture in it.
Girl!
So this is what I'm saying. This is what I want to do a podcast on
It
myself.
matters.
When you get serious and it is true to your heart, and you make a decision, and you like, not, I always have a hard word with the word, the definition of demand, but when you proclaim it, maybe that's a better
I
word.
like
When you
proclaim.
proclaim your intention and get
Yep.
serious with it, and it aligns with what is really true in your heart, and you're not wishy-washy, magic
It
happens. So
comes.
that's what I'm working on
Oh,
right now.
yes. Oh, I just got chills. I love it. I love it. Well, Jodi, thank you so much for joining us today. And friends out there, I'm going to close out like I always do. And we're going to ask you the same question if you're listening. What are you performing in your own life just to survive right now? And what might dropping that role masker performance do to possibly change it, improve it, help you feel better? I'm Lisa Lacy, your host. This has been our guest, Jodi Koch. And when you find that answer, we'll see you at the edge. Thanks so much, Jodi.
Thank you so much for having me on. It has been just such a pleasure. You are amazing.
So are you, my friend, and congratulations on your amazing healing journey. You've done a
Thank
beautiful job,
you.
and you're going to help so many people, I do believe.